The Valerian Empire ruled half the galaxy. For 3,000 years they had expanded their territory. Planet after planet. System after system. They were unstoppable. Their technology was advanced. Their military was massive. Their reputation made entire civilizations surrender without a fight. Emperor Theron sat on his throne, looking at a holographic map of the galaxy. Half of it glowed blue Valerian territory. The other half was divided among smaller, weaker civilizations. Your Majesty, his chief military advisor bowed. We have identified our next target. Show me, Theron commanded. The hologram zoomed in on a small yellow star. Third planet from the sun. Blue and green. Beautiful. This planet is called Earth, the advisor explained. It's home to a species called humans. They're relatively young. Only recently developed space travel. Theron smiled. How convenient. What are their defenses? Minimal, Your Majesty. They have a small fleet. Maybe 200 ships. Primitive weapons. No energy shields. No faster-than-light weapons. And we have? Theron asked, already knowing the answer. 10,000 warships, Your Majesty. Each one capable of destroying a planet. We could conquer Earth in a single day. Theron laughed. Not a happy laugh. A cruel laugh. Another easy victory. How boring. Should we send the invasion fleet? The advisor asked. No, Theron said thoughtfully. Not yet. First send them a warning. Let them know what's coming. Give them a chance to surrender peacefully. It's more civilized that way. The advisor bowed. As you wish, Your Majesty. But Theron had another reason for sending a warning first. He enjoyed watching species panic. Watching them beg. Watching them realize they had no hope. It was entertainment before the conquest. Make the message clear, Theron added. Tell them exactly what will happen if they refuse. Destruction. Enslavement. The end of their civilization. Let fear do half our work. The message was prepared carefully. It was designed to terrify. A Valerian communication ship jumped into Earth's solar system. It appeared near Mars, visible to every telescope and sensor on Earth. Then it broadcast the message. On every frequency. In every language. Impossible to ignore. The face that appeared on screens worldwide was imposing. Emperor Theron himself. Wearing ceremonial armor. Sitting on his throne. Behind him, thousands of warships were visible. People of Earth. His voice was cold and commanding. I am Emperor Theron of the Valerian Empire. We rule half this galaxy. We command 10,000 warships. We have conquered 500 civilizations. Images flashed behind him. Planets burning. Cities destroyed. Species kneeling in surrender. We have decided that Earth will join our empire. You have two choices. First choice, surrender immediately. Give us control of your planet. Your people will serve us. Your resources will belong to us. Your freedom will end. But most of you will live. He paused, letting that sink in. Second choice, refuse. Fight back. Resist. If you choose this path, we will destroy you. Every city will burn. Every ship will be crushed. Every human will die or become a slave. Your planet will be conquered, and your species will be remembered only as another civilization too foolish to surrender. The Emperor leaned forward. You have 7 of your Earth days to decide. Send your answer to the ship waiting near your 4th planet. If we receive no answer, or if your answer is refusal, our fleet will arrive. And your world will end. The message cut to show the Valerian fleet. Thousands upon thousands of massive warships. Each one the size of a city. Weapons that could crack planets. Technology beyond Earth's understanding. Choose wisely, Theron said with a cruel smile. Though honestly you have no real choice at all. Surrender is your only option. Resistance is suicide. 7 days. Then we come for you. The message ended. On Earth, silence fell for exactly 10 seconds. Then chaos erupted. News channels exploded with coverage. Alien Empire threatens Earth. 7 days to surrender or die. Is this the end of humanity? People panicked. Some ran to stores buying supplies. Some prayed in churches, temples, and mosques. Some called their families crying. World leaders held emergency meetings. The United Nations building in New York was filled within hours. This is real, the UN Secretary General said, his face pale. Our scientists confirmed it. That ship near Mars is real. That fleet in the message is real. The Valerian Empire is real. Can we fight them? Asked a military general. A scientist shook his head. Fight them? General, we'd be like ants fighting a boot. Their technology is centuries, maybe millennia, ahead of ours. One of their ships could probably destroy our entire fleet. So we surrender? Someone asked quietly. What choice do we have? Another replied. If we fight, we die. If we surrender, at least some of us survive. Arguments filled the room. Some leaders wanted to fight. Some wanted to negotiate. Some wanted to surrender immediately. But while the leaders argued, something else was happening. Around the world, ordinary people were reacting differently than expected. Not all of them were panicking. Not all of them were crying. Some were getting angry. A veteran in America said to his friends, "An empire that needs to threaten civilians isn't as strong as they claim. Strong empires don't need to brag." A scientist in China told her colleagues, "They gave us 7 days. What? If they're so powerful, why not attack immediately? Maybe they're not as confident as they pretend." A student in Brazil posted online, "This emperor thinks we'll just surrender? He doesn't know humans very well." These voices were quiet at first, lost in the panic and fear. But they were growing. Because humans had something the Valerian Empire didn't understand. Something they couldn't see in their intelligence reports or military assessments. Humans had pride, stubbornness, a history of facing impossible odds and somehow surviving. The Valerian Empire thought their message would break humanity's spirit. Thought the threat would make Earth surrender immediately. They were wrong. They had just made a terrible mistake. They threatened humanity and gave them 7 days to think about it. 7 days to get angry. 7 days to prepare. 7 days to craft a response. And humanity's response would shock the entire galaxy. Emperor Theron thought he was giving Earth a warning. But actually, he was giving humanity something more dangerous. He was giving them time. And humans are very dangerous when they have time to prepare. Day 2 after the threat. The panic was still there, but something else was growing. Anger. The world's leaders continued their emergency meetings. But now, a different tone was emerging. "We need to discuss our response," the UN Secretary-General said. "We have 5 days left to answer." "The answer is obvious," said a nervous diplomat. "We must surrender. We cannot fight an empire that controls half the galaxy." "Surrender our entire planet?" A general from Russia stood up, his voice rising. "Give up our freedom? Become slaves? That's not an option." "Then what is the option?" someone challenged. "We're hopelessly outmatched." A scientist from India spoke up. "May I say something? I've been analyzing the message, the Emperor's threat, and I noticed something interesting." Everyone turned to listen. "He gave us 7 days," she continued. "What? If they're so powerful, why not attack immediately? Why give us time to prepare?" "Maybe it's a psychological tactic," another scientist suggested. "To make us afraid. To make us surrender without a fight." "Exactly," the Indian scientist nodded. "Which means they want us to surrender. They prefer we don't fight." "Why would that be?" A military strategist from Japan spoke up. "Because fighting costs resources. Even if they win easily, it costs them ships, energy, time. Surrender is cheaper." "So they're not invincible," the Russian general said slowly. "They can be hurt. They can lose ships." "Oh, they're still far more powerful than us," the scientist admitted. "But they're not gods. They're just very advanced. And advancement has a weakness." "What weakness?" "Overconfidence." The room fell quiet as people considered this. The President of the United States stood up. "I've been listening to the reports from around the world. You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing people get angry. Not just scared. Angry. People are tired of being threatened. Tired of bullies. Whether those bullies are from Earth or from across the galaxy." "What are you suggesting?" someone asked. "I'm suggesting we don't surrender," the President said firmly. "I'm suggesting we send them a response they'll never forget." Meanwhile, across the planet, humanity was having its own conversation. Social media exploded with opinions. Millions of posts. Billions of comments. Should we fight or surrender? Became the question everyone was debating. A post from a teenager in Kenya went viral. "My ancestors fought colonizers with spears against guns. They lost battles but never lost their spirit. Now aliens with space guns want us to surrender? I don't think so." An elderly woman in Germany posted, "I survived World War II. I survived the Cold War. I survived a pandemic. Some space emperor thinks I'm going to bow down? He can wait forever." A teacher in Australia wrote, "I teach history. Know what I learned? Every empire that thought it was invincible eventually fell. Rome, Mongolia, Britain, all of them. This Valerian Empire will be no different. The posts kept coming. Thousands. Millions. We're humans. We don't give up. They think we're weak? Let's show them what we're made of. Even if we lose, we'll lose fighting. Not on our knees. Something remarkable was happening. The world was uniting. Not in surrender. In defiance. Countries that had been enemies were suddenly allies. Old conflicts seemed meaningless when facing extinction. Political differences didn't matter when the entire species was threatened. A video went viral. It showed people from every continent, every culture, every background, all saying the same thing in different languages. We are human. We don't surrender. The video got 1 billion views in one day. Back in the UN building, a decision was being made. We need to vote, the Secretary General said. Do we surrender or do we send a different response? If we refuse to surrender, they'll destroy us, a cautious voice warned. If we surrender, we destroy ourselves, someone else replied. We lose everything that makes us human. Our freedom, our dignity, our spirit. A young ambassador from Nigeria stood up. May I speak? My country has a saying, it is better to die on your feet than live on your knees. The Valerian Empire offers us life as slaves. I say we choose death as free people instead. Applause erupted in the chamber. But we don't have to die, the military strategist from Japan said. We can fight smart. We may not win, but we can make them pay a price. We can show them that humans are not easy prey. What do you propose? Someone asked. Guerrilla tactics. Asymmetric warfare. We can't match their fleet in open battle, but we can make Earth a nightmare for occupation. Every city becomes a fortress. Every human becomes a soldier. We make conquering Earth so costly, so difficult that they regret ever coming here. More applause. The vote was called. Representatives from every nation. One question. Do we surrender to the Valerian Empire or do we resist? The voting took less than 5 minutes. The result was nearly unanimous. Resist. Earth would not surrender. Earth would fight. Now came the hard part. Crafting a response message. What do you say to an empire that threatens your extinction? A special committee was formed. Military leaders, diplomats, scientists, writers, even a few social media influencers who understood how to craft powerful messages. They worked through the night. The message needs to be clear, someone said. No begging, no pleading, just strength. But we're not strong, another person argued. They'll laugh at us. Then let them laugh, a general said. But let them laugh while reading a message that shows we're not afraid. That shows we know exactly what we're facing and we choose to fight anyway. An elderly diplomat who had served for 50 years spoke up. I've negotiated with dictators, warlords, and tyrants. They all have one thing in common. They expect fear. When they don't get it, they become uncertain. Uncertain enemies make mistakes. So we show no fear, someone summarized. Exactly. We show defiance, pride, courage. We show them that humans would rather die free than live as slaves. The message was written, rewritten, polished, every word chosen carefully. Finally, after 18 hours of work, it was ready. The Secretary General read it aloud to the committee. Silence filled the room. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then everyone. This is perfect, someone said with tears in their eyes. This is exactly what humanity needs to say. Will it save us? A young officer asked. No, the Secretary General admitted. But it will remind us who we are. And it will show the galaxy that humans don't break. No matter what. The message was approved. Encrypted. Prepared for transmission. On day 3, Earth sent its response to the Valerian ship waiting near Mars. Around the world, people waited nervously. They knew the message would likely make the Emperor angry. They knew it might guarantee their destruction. But they also knew it was the right message. The only message humanity could send and still call themselves human. In the Valerian ship near Mars, officers received the transmission from Earth. Sir, a communications officer said, we received Earth's response. Play it, the ship commander ordered. What they heard shocked them into silence. Earth's response was not a surrender. Not even close. It was a declaration. A challenge. A message so bold, so defiant, that the Valerian officers couldn't believe what they were hearing. This must be a mistake, one officer stammered. Surely they don't mean this. Send this to Emperor Theron immediately, the commander ordered. He needs to see this. The message was transmitted across half the galaxy. To the Valerian homeworld. To Emperor Theron himself. When the Emperor read Earth's response, his face turned red with rage, then purple with fury. Then, something else. Something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Surprise. These humans, these primitives, these weak species that should be trembling in fear. They had sent a message that left the entire Valerian command speechless. Earth hadn't begged for mercy. Earth hadn't offered surrender. Earth had declared war. But not just war. Something more. Something the Valerian Empire had never encountered before. Humanity had sent a message that would echo across the galaxy for generations. A message that would change everything. Emperor Theron stared at the screen in his throne room. His advisors stood nervously around him. Everyone had seen Earth's message. Everyone was waiting for the Emperor's reaction. The message was short, simple, but powerful. Theron read it again, unable to believe what he was seeing. Earth's official response to the Valorian Empire. Emperor Theron, we received your threat. We understand your power. We see your fleet. We know you can destroy us. But we have something to tell you. No, we will not surrender. We will not bow. We will not become your slaves. You rule half the galaxy? Congratulations. You've conquered 500 civilizations? Good for you. You have 10,000 warships? Impressive. But you've never conquered a species like us. We are humans. We survived ice ages with nothing but fire and stone tools. We climbed from caves to cities. We split the atom. We walked on our moon. We built civilizations from dirt and dreams. Every step of our history, something tried to kill us. Diseases, disasters, predators, starvation. Or, we survived them all. Not because we're the strongest, not because we're the smartest, but because we refuse to quit. Ever. You offer us slavery or death. We choose neither. We choose freedom. We choose to fight. And if we die as free people, not as your servants. You gave us 7 days to respond. Thank you for the time. We used it to unite our entire planet. Every nation, every culture, every human. We are one now. One species. One world. One voice. And that voice says, come if you dare. Yes, you'll probably win. Your technology is superior. Your numbers are greater. You have experience conquering worlds. But we have something you lost a long time ago. We have something to fight for. Our home. Our families. Our freedom. Our future. You fight for empire. For conquest. For glory. We fight for survival. And survivors are the most dangerous fighters in the universe. So bring your fleet. Bring your weapons. Bring your 10,000 ships. We'll be waiting. And when your history books write about the Valerian Empire, they'll have to include a footnote. A small planet called Earth. A species called humans. The ones who looked at your mighty empire and said, no. We may lose this war. But we'll make you remember us. Every ship you lose. Every soldier who falls. Every drop of blood spilled. You'll remember that humans don't surrender. You wanted an answer in 7 days. Here it is. Earth stands. Humanity fights. Come and face us. We'll be here. Waiting. Signed, the United Nations of Earth, speaking for 8 billion humans who choose freedom over fear. The throne room was silent. Emperor Theron read the message 3 times. Each time his expression changed. First, disbelief. Second, anger. Third, something else. Something his advisors had never seen before. Uncertainty. This is not possible, Theron said quietly. They should be begging. They should be crying. They should be surrendering. Your Majesty, an advisor spoke carefully, perhaps they don't understand the situation. They're primitives. Maybe they don't realize how hopeless their position is. No, Theron said slowly. They understand perfectly. Look at this line. Yes, you'll probably win. They know they can't win. But they're fighting anyway. Then they're insane, another advisor said. Or they're brave, Theron admitted grudgingly. Foolishly brave, but brave nonetheless. His military commander stepped forward. Your Majesty, this changes nothing. We still have overwhelming force. We still can destroy them easily. This message is just words. Just words. Theron repeated. He stood up from his throne and walked to the window, looking out at his capital city. Words can be more dangerous than weapons, Commander. This message, it's not meant just for us. What do you mean? They broadcasted it on open channels. Not encrypted. Anyone in this sector could intercept it. They wanted others to hear it. Realization spread through the room. They're sending a message to the entire galaxy, an advisor said. Showing others that resistance is possible. That the Valerian Empire can be defied. Theron nodded grimly. For 3,000 years, our reputation has done half our work. Species surrender because they've heard of our power. They give up before we even arrive. But if word spreads that one small planet refused to surrender, that they chose to fight, other worlds might resist too, the military commander finished. Exactly. This is more than a simple refusal. This is propaganda. They're turning their defeat into a symbol. Even if we destroy them, they win. They become martyrs. Heroes. The little planet that stood against the Empire. Silence fell again. An advisor asked quietly, "What do we do, Your Majesty?" Theron thought for a long moment. His pride wanted to destroy Earth immediately. To punish them for this insult. To show the galaxy what happens when you defy the Valerian Empire. But his strategic mind was thinking differently. How many ships would we lose if they actually fight? Theron asked. The military commander consulted his data. If they use everything they have? If they fight with desperation? Probably, maybe 50 to 100 ships. 50 to 100, Theron repeated. Out of 10,000. Less than 1%. Exactly, Your Majesty. Minimal losses. Nothing significant. Nothing significant? Theron turned to face his commander. We would lose more ships to this one primitive planet than we lost to the last 10 conquests combined. And they know they'll lose. They're accepting certain death. What kind of enemy does that? No one had an answer. I'll tell you what kind, Theron continued. The dangerous kind. The unpredictable kind. The kind that makes mistakes costly. He walked back to his throne but didn't sit. He paced. Send a message to the fleet, Theron ordered. Prepare for invasion. But tell them to expect heavy resistance. Tell them this won't be easy. Your Majesty, an advisor said nervously, perhaps we should reconsider? This planet is causing complications. Maybe we should choose a different target? An easier one? Easier? Theron's eyes flashed. Are you suggesting the Valerian Empire backs down from a challenge? That we retreat from primitives because they sent a brave message? No, Your Majesty, The entire galaxy is watching now, Theron interrupted. Thanks to Earth's broadcast, everyone knows we threaten them. Everyone knows they refused. If we back down now, we look weak. Our reputation is destroyed. No, we must invade. We must conquer them. We must show the galaxy that defying us leads to destruction. The advisors nodded, though some looked troubled. But, Theron added, his voice thoughtful, we will do this carefully. These humans, they're different. They're accepting death rather than surrender. That makes them dangerous. He sat down on his throne, looking tired suddenly. Prepare the fleet for invasion. But also, prepare for casualties. More casualties than usual. These humans won't make it easy. Orders were set. The Valerian fleet, 10,000 strong, began moving toward Earth. The trip would take 3 days. 3 days for Earth to prepare for the end. On Earth, the message had been received by everyone. Broadcast worldwide. Every human knew what was said. Every human knew war was coming. But instead of panic, there was something else. Pride. Did you see what we told them? People said to each other. We said no to the entire Valerian Empire. We're going to lose, but at least we're going down fighting. Social media exploded with support. I'm proud to be human today. Whatever happens, we told the truth. We don't surrender. Earth stands. Humanity fights. Best message ever. Even people who had been scared before felt different now. They felt united. Strong. Ready. Military forces prepared defenses. Scientists worked on last-minute weapons. Civilians volunteered to help. Everyone knew what was coming. A fleet that had conquered 500 worlds. An empire that had never lost. A force that could destroy planets. But Earth was ready. Not ready to win. Ready to fight. And somehow that was enough. The message had been sent. Earth's answer was clear. Now came the hard part. Facing the consequences. Day 7. The deadline had passed. The Valerian fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 10,000 warships. Each one massive. Each one deadly. They appeared near Neptune, the outermost planet. A coordinated jump. Perfect military precision. On Earth, every telescope, every sensor, every satellite detected them immediately. They're here, someone whispered in the UN command center. Screens showed the fleet. So many ships they looked like a swarm. A dark cloud moving toward Earth. The Secretary-General addressed the world one last time. People of Earth, the Valerian fleet has arrived. They will reach our planet in approximately 12 hours. This is our final chance to change our decision. Does anyone wish to reconsider? To surrender after all? The vote was taken again. Every nation. Every representative. The result was the same as before. No surrender. We fight. Then we fight, the Secretary General said simply. May whatever gods exist have mercy on us all. Humanity's small fleet moved into defensive positions. 200 ships. Compared to 10,000 it looked pathetic. Like children's toys facing a professional army. But the human ships didn't retreat. They held their positions between the Valerian fleet and Earth. Admiral Chen commanded the human fleet from the bridge of the flagship Unity. She was 60 years old. A veteran of 3 wars. She had never commanded a battle she knew she would lose. Until now. All ships report ready, her tactical officer said. Good, Admiral Chen replied. She opened a channel to all ships in her fleet. This is Admiral Chen. You all know what we're facing. You all know we can't win. But we're not here to win. We're here to show them that humans don't quit. We're here to make them pay a price. Every second we delay them is another second for civilians to reach shelters. Every ship of theirs we damage is one less ship attacking our planet. Fight smart. Fight hard. Fight together. It's been an honor serving with you all. Responses came from every ship. Honor to serve, Admiral. Earth stands. Humanity fights. The Valerian fleet continued its approach. Slow. Confident. No hurry. When they reached Mars they stopped. A message came through. Emperor Theron's face appeared on every screen. People of Earth. This is your final warning. Your fleet is in our path. Move it aside and surrender or we will destroy it. You cannot win. Why die for nothing? Admiral Chen opened a return channel. Her face appeared on Valerian screens. Emperor Theron. This is Admiral Chen of Earth's Defense Fleet. We received your warning. Here's our answer. No. You want to reach Earth? You'll have to go through us first. Theron looked surprised. You're serious? You're going to fight? Did you think we were joking? Chen smiled grimly. We told you in our message. We choose to fight. So come on. Let's see if your reputation is earned or just propaganda. For a moment, Theron said nothing. Then he actually laughed. Not cruelly. Almost respectfully. You're brave. Foolish but brave. Very well, Admiral. We'll accept your challenge. Try not to die too quickly. I want this to be at least slightly interesting. The communication ended. All ships, Admiral Chen commanded, weapons free. Engage at will. The battle began. Earth's ships opened fire first. Missiles, railguns, lasers, everything they had. The Valerian shields absorbed most of it easily. But not all. A few shots got through. Minor damage. Nothing critical. But damage nonetheless. The Valorians returned fire. Energy weapons. Plasma cannons. Technology Earth barely understood. The first human ship exploded in seconds. Then another. Then 3 more. But the human fleet didn't break formation. Didn't retreat. They kept fighting. Admiral Chen watched her tactical display. Red icons representing human ships were disappearing rapidly. But she also saw something else. Green icons representing Valerian ships showing damage indicators. They're not invincible, she said aloud. We're hurting them. Admiral, her weapons officer shouted. The Paris took down a Valerian destroyer. It's confirmed. We got one. Cheers erupted on the bridge. 1 Valerian ship destroyed. Against 5 human ships lost. Terrible odds. But it proved something. They could be beaten. The battle continued for 2 hours. The human fleet used every trick they knew. Surprise attacks. Ambushes. Kamikaze runs. Anything to damage the Valerian fleet. Earth's ships fell one by one. 50 gone. Then 70. Then 100. But the Valorians paid a price too. 15 ships destroyed. 40 damaged. Not much compared to their numbers but more than they expected. Far more. On the Valerian command ship, Emperor Theron watched the battle with growing frustration. Why are they still fighting? He demanded. Half their fleet is gone. They've accomplished nothing. Why don't they retreat? Because they're human, Your Majesty, an advisor said quietly. They meant what they said. They'd rather die fighting than surrender. Theron watched as another human ship, badly damaged, rammed itself into a Valerian cruiser. Both ships exploded. Insane, Theron muttered. They're absolutely insane. But there was something in his voice. Not just anger. Something else. Respect. After 3 hours, only 20 human ships remained. Admiral Chen's flagship was heavily damaged. Half her crew was dead. Life support was failing. Weapons were almost depleted. Admiral, her tactical officer said, we should retreat. Fall back to Earth. We've done all we can. Chin shook her head. No retreat. We hold this line until the last ship falls. But Admiral, that's an order. She opened one final channel to the remaining ships. All vessels, this is Chin. It's been an honor. For Earth. For humanity. Fight to the last. For Earth, came the responses. The 20 human ships charged directly at the Valerian fleet. One final desperate attack. It was suicide. But it was also glorious. The last human ships fought like cornered animals. Wild. Desperate. Deadly. They took 17 more Valerian ships with them. Admiral Chen's ship was the last to fall. As the Unity broke apart, she sat in her captain's chair, smiling. We held them for 4 hours, she said to her dying crew. 4 hours against an empire. Not bad. Not bad at all. The Unity exploded in a brilliant flash. The space battle was over. Earth's fleet was destroyed. All 200 ships gone. But the Valerian fleet had lost 32 ships. Had dozens more damaged. And had been delayed for 4 hours. Emperor Theron stared at the battle report in disbelief. 32 ships, he said quietly. They destroyed 32 of our ships. With primitive weapons. With inferior numbers. How? Desperation, Your Majesty, his military commander said. And courage. They fought like every battle was their last. Because for them it was. Theron was silent for a long moment. The invasion continues, he finally ordered. Advance to Earth. Prepare orbital bombardment. We'll teach these humans what happens when you defy us. The fleet moved forward toward Earth. But something had changed. The Valerian soldiers weren't boasting anymore. Weren't making jokes. They had seen humans fight. Seen humans die. Seen humans refuse to give up even when victory was impossible. They're just humans, a nervous officer said. They're defeated. Their fleet is gone. The hard part is over. But everyone knew that wasn't true. The hard part was just beginning. Because now the Valorians had to invade Earth itself. And if humans fought this hard in space with training and discipline, how would they fight for their home? For their families? For their planet? The Valerian fleet approached Earth. Below, 8 billion humans waited. Armed. Angry. Unbroken. The real battle was about to begin. The Valerian fleet entered Earth's orbit. 10,000 ships. Well, 9,968 now, after the space battle. Emperor Theron looked down at the blue and green planet below. Beautiful. Peaceful from space. But he knew what waited there. 8 billion humans who had chosen death over surrender. Begin orbital bombardment, Theron ordered. Target military installations. Government buildings. Communication centers. Break their ability to coordinate. Energy beams lanced down from the Valerian ships. Precise strikes. Not meant to destroy the planet. Just to disable it. But something unexpected happened. The beams hit shields. Energy barriers that shouldn't exist. What? Theron stood from his chair. They have shield technology? Impossible, Your Majesty, a technician said, checking readings. They didn't have shields 3 days ago. How did they? They reverse-engineered our technology, the science officer interrupted, pulling up data. From the debris of our ships in the space battle. They analyzed our shields and built their own. Primitive versions, but functional. Theron felt something he rarely felt. Amazement. In 3 days, he said. They reverse-engineered technology in 3 days? They're more adaptable than we thought, Your Majesty. The shields over Earth cities wouldn't hold long. Valerian weapons were too powerful. But they would hold long enough. Long enough for civilians to evacuate. Long enough to prepare the ground defenses. Increase bombardment, Theron ordered. Break those shields. The bombardment intensified. One by one the shields failed. New York's shield collapsed. Then London's. Then Tokyo's. But by then the cities were empty. Civilians had evacuated to underground shelters. Military forces had moved to defensive positions. Sir, a military commander reported, we need to send ground forces. Bombardment alone won't conquer the planet. We need boots on the ground. Theron nodded reluctantly. Prepare invasion forces. Start with 3 landing zones. North America, Europe, Asia. Secure those continents first. How many troops, Your Majesty? 1 million should be sufficient. 1 million Valerian soldiers. Each one trained. Equipped with advanced weapons. Enhanced armor. Superior technology. Against 8 billion humans with inferior equipment. It should have been easy. It wasn't. The first landing occurred in the Nevada desert, United States. 100,000 Valerian troops landed in massive transport ships. They expected resistance. They were prepared for it. What they weren't prepared for was the desert itself exploding. Humans had buried mines everywhere. Thousands of them. Hidden beneath sand. Invisible to scanners. The first wave of Valerian troops lost 10,000 soldiers to mines before they even saw an enemy. Ambush, a Valerian commander shouted. Take cover. But there was no cover. Just open desert. Then the humans appeared. Not in neat formations. Not in organized lines. From every direction. Every hiding spot. Every sand dune. Guerrilla warfare at its finest. A Valerian soldier fired at a human position. Killed 3 humans. Felt satisfied. Then 10 more humans appeared from a different angle. Shot him from behind. Another Valerian unit advanced on what looked like a human bunker. Strong position. Good defensive structure. Was a trap. The bunker was rigged with explosives. When the Valorians got close, humans detonated it remotely. 30 Valerian soldiers died instantly. They're not fighting fair, a Valerian officer complained. There's no such thing as fair in war, his commander replied grimly. Advance. Keep moving forward. But advancing was costly. Every mile gained cost lives. Every position taken came with casualties. The Valorians were winning. Slowly pushing forward. But they were paying a terrible price. In Europe, the landing went differently but just as badly. Valerian forces landed in France. The countryside was quiet. Too quiet. Where are they? A Valerian scout asked. Then the humans revealed themselves. Not by attacking. By disappearing. Every human in the region had evacuated. Cities were empty. Towns were abandoned. But before leaving, humans had destroyed everything useful. Bridges blown up. Roads blocked. Power stations demolished. Water sources poisoned. The Valorians landed in a wasteland. Nothing to capture. Nothing to control. Just ruins. Scorched earth tactics, a Valerian commander realized. They're giving us nothing. Making us work for every inch. When Valerian troops entered cities, they found booby traps. Buildings rigged to collapse. Streets designed to funnel them into kill zones. And always human resistance fighters attacking from shadows. Never staying to fight. Always hit and run. Strike and vanish. How do we fight an enemy we can't find? A frustrated Valerian soldier asked. His commander had no answer. In Asia, Valerian forces landed in China. They expected organized military resistance. They got that. But they also got something else. Civilians fighting. Old men with hunting rifles. Young women with homemade explosives. Children throwing rocks from rooftops. Everyone was fighting. Everyone. A Valerian squad entered a village. Found it defended by farmers. Elderly people. School teachers. We are trained warriors, the Valerian leader announced. Surrender now and you'll be spared. An elderly woman, maybe 80 years old, stood up. She was holding an ancient rifle. You want our village? She said in broken but clear Valerian language. Come and take it. She fired. The battle was short. The Valorians won, of course. They had better weapons. Better armor. Better training. But they lost 12 soldiers to villagers. 12 trained warriors killed by farmers and grandmothers. When it was over, the Valerian commander looked at the ruins of the village. At the bodies of humans who died defending their homes. What kind of species is this? He whispered. Reports flooded back to Emperor Theron's flagship. Nevada landing, successful but heavy casualties. Estimated 20,000 troops lost. European landing, territory secured but resistance is constant. Progress is slow. Asian landing, facing unexpected civilian resistance. Morale among troops is declining. Theron read each report with growing concern. We've landed 1 million troops, he said. And we're taking casualties like we landed on a military fortress. These are civilians. Primitives. These are humans, Your Majesty, an advisor corrected gently. They're different from anything we've faced before. Different how? Other species we conquered had soldiers and civilians. Fighters and non-fighters. But humans? Every human is a potential fighter. Every human is willing to resist. Age doesn't matter. Training doesn't matter. They just fight. Theron pulled up video footage from the ground battles. Watched a human child, maybe 12 years old, throw a homemade explosive at a Valerian tank. The tank was damaged. The child was killed instantly by return fire. But more children appeared. threw more explosives, disappeared into ruins. They're using children as soldiers, a horrified officer said. No, Theron said quietly. The children are volunteering. Look at that footage again. That child wasn't forced. That child chose to fight. Silence fell in the command center. How do we conquer a species where everyone chooses to fight? Someone asked. Where surrender isn't an option for anyone? We increase the pressure, Theron decided. Land more troops. Double the invasion force. 2 million soldiers. Overwhelm them with numbers. Orders were set. More landing craft descended to Earth. But in the back of his mind, Theron was wondering something he had never wondered before. Can we actually win this? On Earth, humans watched the invasion on their screens. Saw Valerian forces landing everywhere. Saw their cities being occupied. Saw their planet being conquered. But they didn't despair. Look at the casualty reports, a resistance leader said to his fighters. They're losing hundreds of soldiers every hour. They came with 1 million troops. We've already killed 50,000 of them in the first day. But we've lost 10 times that many, someone pointed out. Yes, but we have 8 billion people. They have limited soldiers. Every one of them that dies matters. Every one of us that dies, we have more to replace them. It was brutal math, cold calculation. But it was true. We can't win battles, the leader continued. But we can win the war. We just have to make conquering Earth so expensive, so costly, so painful, that they decide it's not worth it. Around the world, humans were reaching the same conclusion. They couldn't defeat the Valerian Empire. But they could make the Empire regret ever coming to Earth. And sometimes that was enough. Day 14 of the invasion. 2 weeks of constant fighting. The Valerian Empire was winning. Technically. They controlled major cities. They held strategic positions. They had superior firepower and technology. But they were bleeding. Emperor Theron sat in his command center, staring at casualty reports. The numbers were devastating. Total Valerian losses, 147,000 soldiers killed. 300,000 wounded. 68 ships destroyed or damaged beyond repair. One of his advisors tried to sound optimistic. But Your Majesty, we're making progress. We control 60% of Earth's major territories. At what cost? Theron asked quietly. We've been here 2 weeks and lost more troops than in our last 50 conquests combined. And the humans? They're not slowing down. They're not surrendering. If anything, they're fighting harder. It was true. Humans had lost millions. Cities were in ruins. Infrastructure was destroyed. By any measure, they were losing badly. But they kept fighting. A video report showed a battle in what used to be Chicago. Valerian forces were clearing buildings. Room by room. Floor by floor. Every room had humans. Fighting with whatever they could find. Guns. Knives. Bare hands. A Valerian soldier kicked down a door. Found a woman and 2 children. The woman attacked him with a kitchen knife. She was killed immediately. But while the soldier was distracted, the children detonated explosives hidden in the apartment. Both children died. So did 3 Valerian soldiers. The video ended. Theron's command center was silent. They're willing to sacrifice their own children, an officer said, voice shaking. What kind of species does that? A desperate one, Theron replied. A species with nothing left to lose. Another report came in. Your Majesty, the European front is requesting more reinforcements. They're facing coordinated attacks from multiple resistance groups. Send them, Theron ordered tiredly. Your Majesty, we've already sent all available reserves. There are no more troops to send without pulling forces from other fronts. Theron stood up, walked to the window of his flagship. Looked down at Earth. From orbit it looked peaceful. Beautiful. But he knew the truth. Down there was hell. A planet-sized war zone where every human was an enemy. Where every building was a fortress. Where every street was a battlefield. How long until we achieve complete control? Theron asked. His military commander consulted projections. At current rates, 18 months, Your Majesty. Maybe 2 years. 2 years, Theron repeated. 2 years of fighting. How many more casualties? Estimated, another 1 million soldiers, Your Majesty. Maybe more if resistance doesn't decrease. And will it decrease? The commander was silent. Answer me. Theron demanded. Will human resistance decrease? No, Your Majesty, the commander admitted. Every analysis suggests it will increase. We kill their fighters but new ones appear. We destroy their weapons, they make new ones. We occupy their cities, they fight from the ruins. They're not breaking. They're adapting. Theron sat down heavily. For the first time in his long reign he looked old. Tired. What have we accomplished here? He asked quietly. We came to conquer one planet. One primitive, backward planet. And it's breaking us. An advisor spoke carefully. Your Majesty, perhaps we should consider alternatives. Alternatives? We could withdraw. Declare Earth too costly to conquer. Focus our efforts elsewhere. Withdraw. Theron roared. The Valerian Empire doesn't withdraw. We've never retreated from any conquest. With respect, Your Majesty, the advisor continued bravely, we've never faced anything like this before. Every other species we conquered surrendered eventually. But humans? They've been fighting for 14 days without pause. They've lost millions and they're still fighting. If we stay, we'll win eventually. But at what cost? How many more ships will we lose? How many more soldiers? And what will we gain? A ruined planet? A population that will never stop resisting? Theron wanted to argue. Wanted to insist they continue. But he couldn't deny the truth. Earth was becoming a disaster. A costly, painful, endless disaster. What would the other civilizations think? Theron asked. If we retreat from one primitive planet? They'll think we're smart, another advisor said. They'll think we recognized a war we couldn't win and chose to preserve our strength. That's wisdom, not weakness. And what will humans think? They'll think they won, the advisor admitted. And honestly, Your Majesty, they would be right. The meeting lasted 6 more hours. Arguments, calculations, projections. Every possible option analyzed. Finally, Theron made his decision. Prepare for withdrawal, he said, each word painful. Begin evacuating our forces. We're leaving Earth. Some advisors looked relieved. Others looked shocked. But send a message first, Theron added. To Earth. To humanity. They deserve to know why we're leaving. The message was prepared. This time, Theron appeared humble. No throne. No ceremonial armor. Just a tired emperor admitting an uncomfortable truth. The message appeared on screens worldwide. People of Earth. This is Emperor Theron of the Valerian Empire. I am sending this message to inform you that we are withdrawing our forces from your planet. Silence fell across Earth. People stopped fighting. Stopped moving. Listen. We came to your world expecting an easy conquest. We thought your primitive technology made you weak. We thought our superior numbers and weapons guaranteed victory. We were wrong. Theron paused. You are not weak. You are the strongest species we have ever encountered. Not in technology. Not in weapons. But in spirit. In determination. In refusal to surrender. On Earth, people started crying. Not from sadness. From relief. From joy. From pride. We have fought for 2 weeks. We control much of your planet. We could continue fighting. Eventually, we might achieve complete conquest. But the cost would be too high. You would make us pay for every city. Every street. Every building. We would lose more soldiers conquering you than we lost in centuries of other conquests. Emperor Theron looked directly into the camera. So we're leaving. Not because we're weak. But because you're too strong. Too stubborn. Too brave. Conquering Earth isn't worth the price you would make us pay. He took a breath. I came here to add Earth to our empire. Instead, you taught me something. You taught me that some species cannot be conquered. That courage is stronger than weapons. That spirit is stronger than technology. His voice became respectful. Almost gentle. You won, humans. Not by destroying our fleet. Not by defeating our armies. But by refusing to break. By choosing death over surrender. By fighting when victory was impossible. That takes a kind of courage I've never seen before. Around Earth, celebrations were beginning. Quiet at first. Then louder. Then explosive. We will leave within 72 hours, Theron continued. All our forces will evacuate. Your planet will be yours again. And I give you my word, the Valerian Empire will never return to Earth. We will mark your system as forbidden. Any civilization seeking to conquer you will find us warning them against it. He smiled slightly. A respectful smile. Because we learned what you already knew. That humans don't surrender. That humans don't break. That humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy when fighting for their home. The message ended with simple words. You have our respect. You have our fear. And you have your freedom. Earth stands. Humanity wins. The withdrawal began immediately. Valerian troops evacuated from combat zones. Ships left orbit. Within 3 days, Earth's skies were clear. The Valerian Empire was gone. And humanity stood victorious. not unharmed. Millions had died. Cities were ruins. Infrastructure was destroyed. Earth would take decades to rebuild. But they were free. Around the world, people emerged from shelters, from hiding places, from bunkers. They saw their destroyed cities, their ruined homes, their devastated planet. And they celebrated anyway, because they had done the impossible. They had stood against an empire that conquered half the galaxy. And they had won. Not by being stronger, not by being smarter, but by being human, by refusing to quit, by choosing freedom over survival, by fighting when logic said fighting was pointless. A memorial was built in New York, in the ruins of the old United Nations building. A simple stone monument with a plaque. Here humanity stood against an empire of 1,000 worlds. We were outmatched, outgunned, outnumbered, but never outfought. We chose freedom over fear, dignity over survival, courage over surrender. They came to conquer us, we sent them home. Earth stands, humanity wins. Never forget what we can do when we stand together. Years later, in schools across Earth, children learned about the Valerian War. Why did we win? A student asked her teacher. The teacher smiled. We didn't win by destroying them. We won by showing them that conquering us wasn't worth the cost. We won by being so stubborn, so determined, so brave, that even an empire decided fighting us was too expensive. So we won by not losing? We won by refusing to surrender, the teacher corrected. There's a difference. They could have destroyed us. But we would have made them pay such a terrible price that the victory would feel like defeat. That's the human way. We don't have to be the strongest. We just have to be too difficult to conquer. The student nodded, understanding. In distant parts of the galaxy, the story of Earth spread. The planet that defeated the Valerian Empire. The species that couldn't be conquered. Other civilizations heard the story and learned a lesson. Never underestimate humans. Never think they're weak because their technology is primitive. Never assume they'll surrender because victory is impossible. And most importantly, never, ever threaten Earth unless you're prepared for the consequences. Because humans don't surrender. They don't break. They don't give up. They are, quite possibly, the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because they're the strongest, but because they refuse to accept defeat. On the Valerian homeworld, Emperor Theron retired. He had ruled for 300 years, conquered 500 worlds. But he would be remembered for one thing. The emperor who retreated from Earth. The emperor who learned that some species cannot be conquered. He didn't mind the legacy, because he knew the truth. Retreating from Earth wasn't his greatest failure. It was his wisest decision. Because if they had stayed, if they had kept fighting, humanity would have made them pay forever. And some battles, even when you can win them, aren't worth fighting. Earth taught the galaxy that lesson. A lesson that would never be forgotten. And that's how humanity defeated an empire without defeating them. We didn't destroy their fleet. We didn't conquer their worlds. We just showed them that freedom is worth any price. That courage can't be conquered. That spirit is stronger than weapons. The Valerian Empire learned what every bully eventually learns. Some fights aren't worth winning. If you enjoyed this story of human defiance and courage, like this video to support more HFY stories. Subscribe for epic tales of humanity's strength. Comment. What would you have said in Earth's message to the Empire? Share with anyone who needs a reminder that humans never give up.